Welcome to 100 Yards of Football. This is your football legends segment featuring your very own Bobby Butler. And today we have a special guest, former teammate and business partner of mine. Let me introduce him by playing just a little video of him.
Okay, I guess we're gonna get to watch some real football here now. This is blood and guts. We just started putting helmets on a couple of years before this now. Oh, that was Wilbert Montgomery. He didn't want to play us. I don't think he wanted any part of that. Oh, that's my buddy. That's our buddy Al Richardson, co-defensive player of the year, rookie of the year. Oh man, did number 50 play cornerback, Bobby? I'm not sure. Got a little vertical there. That's Ron Jaworski. We see him on TV all the time. Ron, you need to throw a little bit better pass than that. Let one of those slow linebackers get you. Oh, I got yelled at on this. Look how I'm carrying that ball. I fumbled the ball. Oh, it was not a good day. That's Joel Williams. This is Monday Night Football. We end up beating them by a touchdown. That was Guido Merkins. Remember him, Bobby? And of course, you know that guy right there was talking about a football player. Oh yeah, he did. That's San Francisco. We got after them. We're gonna watch some swarming football here in a minute. Boy, I tell you what, that was a difficult sack. I had three people blocking me. It just came right. Didn't get touched. Oh, it's a rough game. What a joy. George Rogers, the famous Heisman Trophy. Oh, you see somebody come in there, number 23, plant the flag. Oh, oh my gosh. I didn't want to run it out there. It's too much energy. You see Bobby Butler there, don't you? Clean him up, Bobby. There's George Rogers again. Nope. Look at him come. Come on, Bobby. Ooh, it's a rough game. It's a physical game. Got to bring your big boy pants. There's Kenny Johnson. What a joy to play the game.
It was nothing like it, I tell you.
What a joy.
Well, I tell you, man, thank you for joining us, Buddy Kerr. We really appreciate you giving us some of your time. 1980 second round pick out of University of North Carolina, come to the Falcons. Let me ask you this question. When the Falcons drafted you in 1980, did you have any idea what kind of team you were getting involved with?
I had no idea about the Atlanta Falcons because I didn't watch that much pro ball. All I saw was the Cowboys and the Packers and maybe the Steelers. Right. But I didn't know any idea about Atlanta Falcons. I knew I was going to get drafted late first round, early second round, so it ended up being early second round.
Right.
But no.
Well, I tell you, you guys, you came in and had an awesome rookie year. I mean, you were NFL rookie, defensive rookie of the year. You guys went 12-4. You won the NFC West. Back then, the Falcons were in the same division with the 49ers and the Saints, and also the Los Angeles Rams. And so we played in the West, and you guys won it all, 12-4. And actually, buddy, you know, in Tallahassee, we used to get a lot of the Falcon games because it's not that far from Atlanta. And, you know, watching football, I remember saying that I think the Falcons got the best team in the NFL. And you guys went on and had a great year. Too bad we couldn't repeat that to get back to that level. But, I mean, you started out great. You played 8 years with the Atlanta Falcons. You led the team in tackles for all 8 seasons. That's incredible. And so here's the thing I want to say to you, because in 1983, you made 229 tackles in one season. I mean, that's the most ever in Falcon history. To this day, it's still the most. And we've had some great linebackers after you left there. I mean, Jesse the Hammer Tuggle. You know, we can name some guys, Keith Brooking. And to this day, you still had the single best season in tackles. I mean, that had to be some kind of a year, right?
Well, yeah. One of the coaches said one time, buddy, you can't come out of the game. And I consider that a badge of honor. And you know, I wanted to make every play. And, you know, as a football player, that's your mindset. So not only in 1980 did I come into a really great football team, it seemed to have peaked out a little bit, but you know, I seemed to get a little bit better. 1983 was I think the pinnacle. We had just switched to a 4-3 defense, and I had a chance to make a lot of plays, and a lot of that was the defensive linemen. When you have 4 linemen in front of you, and they're doing their job and taking care of the offensive lineman, I can run free a little bit.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I tell you what, we had a crazy group, didn't we?
That's the joy of playing, Bobby. We did. We had great guys we played with. You wouldn't want to get in the foxhole with these guys because you could count on them. And we were also good friends or great friends.
Absolutely. I tell you, it's amazing. You and I did a little hanging out together back in the early days, and I was married. You were single, but we were still hanging out. And guys, I want to tell you, man, Buddy got some crazy friends. I mean, he got some friends. One of his buddies, he's a good friend of mine to this day. His nickname is Rooster. And Rooster's from Tennessee, man. I love that guy. We had some great times, wrapped him down to Chattahoochee, just doing crazy stuff that young men do, right? And so we had a blast, man. So listen, so you were our defensive play caller. You called the plays, which was a leadership role. So let me ask you this question. In your whole life of playing football, did you always find yourself in a leadership role?
I think all the way through. My freshman year at North Carolina, I ended up starting halfway through the year, and there's another guy calling signals, but I came in the next year and started calling signals. Wow. And in high school, I think I called signals. And then my first year with Falcons, they had me out front. And that was a challenge because here I am at 22 calling signals to guys 30-some years old that playing with. Right. But I did. I always found myself in that leadership role. And I wanted to – I didn't – really say, you know, you need to do what I say because of my position. I wanted to earn it. I wanted to live the role out and be a leader in terms of my attitude and how I prepared and how I played.
Well, I tell you what, you did have to earn it in Atlanta because, like you said, we had some older guys. We had Jeff Yates, who was a real hard-nosed player. We had Don Smith out of the University of Miami. We had Jeff Merrill out of West Virginia. Right. And I mean, we had some guys, and I know you had to really earn their respect. And we had Captain Crunch, Fulton Kuykendall at the other middle linebacker. What a heck of a football player he was. And those guys were a bunch of crazy guys, man, I tell you. And one thing I loved about them, bruh, they hunt the football. They were a bunch of wild men hunting the football. And we had great defenses during that time. So before I get any further, I want to ask you this question. You come out of the University of North Carolina. And you played, I want you to tell me about some of the guys you played with at Carolina, because that defense you had in college was an unbelievable defense. Talk a little bit about those guys and name some of them.
Well, yeah, so I'll go all the way up to my senior year. My senior year, Lawrence Taylor, the famous LT, was a junior, so he was a year behind me. He came to North Carolina from Williamsburg, Virginia, and he had two choices coming out of high school, either University of Richmond, which was closer to him, or
Oh, wow.
North Carolina. And the guys from Virginia that were on North Carolina's team really ridiculed him because he was thinking about going to Richmond. He comes to North Carolina. He's about 185 pounds, and we all knew he was. He looked like he was pretty talented. He was long and lean, and
Mhm.
kind of knocked around a little bit his freshman year. Played some special teams. Sophomore year got hurt a lot. Junior year he started the whole year, but he really didn't get it together until the bowl game against Michigan in 1979, his junior year. That's when he had a few sacks and he broke the quarterback's leg and he became LT. So that year, in 1979, we ended up beating Pittsburgh, who had maybe had the best talented team I'd ever seen out of
Mhm.
college. And but that team, we played a 3-4 defense, three linemen, four linebackers. Out of those seven, there were two number one draft picks, two number twos, two number sixes, and a free agent played for years. And behind them were other NFL players. So
Right.
we were a stacked ACC team, kind of like what they say, maybe like a SEC team, or maybe even possibly a FSU team. I don't know.
Well, I tell you, you played with some great players, and I got a chance to know some of those guys. Matter of fact, Harry Stanback played in Atlanta with us, and so yeah, and then of course we know who LT is, right? So, buddy, let me ask you a question. You were a tackling machine. You know the way we tackled in the old days. I mean, there were no rules with how we tackled, and most of us led with our head. With the evolution of the game, all right. Tell me a little bit. And let me ask you this question first. Do you think you could play today with the new tackling rules? And is that better for football?
The answer is yes and yes.
Mhm.
The new tackling rules are better for football, but
Mhm.
it's still the same basic techniques. You cannot give that running back the one way to go, and
That's right.
you've got to stay on his backside hip,
Mhm.
and you got to hit him with your shoulder. And we have techniques called the thigh and drive or the drive and the thigh and roll, where
Mhm.
you're doing basically a rugby tackle.
Right.
And look, you still got to get the guy down, but what you
Right.
don't want to do is use your helmet. We were taught to use our face with our
Right.
head up. Now
Mhm.
it's using your shoulder, which they found it's more productive when you use your shoulder because you're not getting your head involved and you have better leverage on the ball
Mhm. Mhm. Well, that's good. I tell you, it looks good, and you know the evolution of the game. I know it's coming, right? I'm just hoping and praying that we can get our youth coaches to really, buy into that, right? Because the game has changed. It's no longer played the way we played it back in the day, and so it's a good thing. I think it's a good thing. All right,
carry.
so go
Well,
ahead.
Bobby, you're talking about a game with athletes.
Right.
You weren't a great athlete, but the guys that we played with were more like pack horses. Now, these
Right.
pack horses, and I was kind of semi,
Mhm.
pack horse and thoroughbred, but we're going to play 4 downs,
That's right.
and
Right.
we were trained that way and all that, but we we are not going to be able to tackle Bobby Butler in space.
Right.
Right now, it's a game of getting kids in space or getting your players in space, and my
Mhm.
athlete's better than your athlete. So
Right.
you better
Mhm.
be technically sound, even if you
Right.
are a great athlete tackling these running backs. Because man, you talking about the jump cut and how they can
Right.
juke. It's amazing. So
Right.
today's game, I think, is so much more athletic and played
Mhm.
by those players,
Right.
and the coaches are setting them up, putting them in a position
Mhm.
where they can best utilize their talents.
Mhm. And I agree with that totally, man. Because when we played, it was all about hard nose, right? You put that helmet on, and it's run. We're gonna run the ball 2 downs, and we're gonna throw if we have to, right? And
That's
so it's the end of the day of the great running backs. I don't think we'll ever see a running back rush for over 2,000 yards again. I think that's the thing of the past, right?
Well,
Well, okay.
that, and also the running backs that they don't want to run that much. That they do, but they don't want to have as many plays because now the game is to how long can I play my career because they're making
Absolutely.
a whole lot more money than we did, and they're
Mhm.
looking at it as a business opportunity.
Right.
Well, we were we were business guy, but no, we love to play the game, and a lot of us would have played it for free,
Right.
well, just in order to play. Um, so
You- You're so right. Because I tell people all the time, I say, if I got drafted out of college and if the pay was, we'll get you a job during the day and you come to practice that night, we play on Sunday, I would have showed up. I would have showed up, right? Because I love to play the game. We played the game before we knew anything about money. When I was a kid, I had no idea what NFL ball players made. I was dreaming to play a game that I truly love to play, right? And so it was a different thing for us, and we just wanted to play. All right, so buddy, let me ask you this question. All right, on this show, the guys, right, the group of us, we always talk about where the best football players come from. And you know what I think? They all come from South Florida. The 305, the 561, the 904, whatever area code down there. It might be a new one starting tonight. I think the best come from Florida. We also know Georgia has some great talent here in the state of Georgia. Last week we had Billy Johnson on, and Billy was talking about the players that come out of the state of Pennsylvania, which you're talking about Joe Namath, you're talking about Joe Montana, you're talking about a lot of great players, including himself, right? That come out of there. And with our relationship, I spent a lot of time over the last years in Virginia with you. And so I've got to know people from Danville, Virginia, Lynchburg, Virginia, Virginia Beach, all over the place. And I'm telling you, they play good football in Virginia. Talk a little bit about people from your hometown in the game of football.
Well, look, there's talent everywhere.
Mhm.
It's really neat to look at the different states and how many athletes come out to go to college and play pro. So you're going to have pockets, I think, in just about anywhere. Now, if you look at the densely populated areas and you look at like the military bases, like Virginia Beach,
Ah,
Virginia, and then Northern Virginia, or
mhm,
in your area, which you've got Pensacola, right?
mhm,
You got
mhm,
Jacksonville with the
right.
air station, and I don't know what you got. I think in South Florida you just got speed. I mean that
Yeah, there you go.
and
You're talking good now.
that's it. I mean you guys can run. Man. You guys are uh, chasing rabbits and all that
Man,
crazy.
everything.
But at the end of the day, the game is about speed now.
Yes, it
It's
is.
about speed,
Yes, it is.
and there's no place like South Florida. I'm sorry. I mean, now
Mhm.
you'll have some pockets. I mean, Texas is
Right.
very close to it, I think, and
Yes.
Georgia's close to it. But
Yes.
there's no place that has speed like Florida. In Virginia, again, we had good football, but if you look at high school football from Georgia compared to Virginia, man,
Mhm.
Georgia they're just more hard nosed. That's what they do. In
Right.
Florida, that's just what they do. These kids they train all year round to play football.
Mhm.
They don't want to play basketball. They want to play baseball. They want to
That's
play
true.
football.
That's true.
So
That's true. That's true. Well, yeah, I tell you, there's some great talent from Danville. And it's a lot of great football players come from Danville. And then there's two other famous guys that come from Danville I got to talk about on this show. Number one is Wendell Scott, the great Wendell Scott, right? Who was the first African American to win, I think, in race car, NASCAR, if I'm not mistaken. He was a great,
right.
he's a great professional athlete. And then the great pastor, Dr. Charles Stanley, right?
Right.
Who my wife works for the last almost 20 years, right?
That's right.
So
That's right.
Danville's a great city for football. So let me ask you this: tell me a little bit about your athletic tree, and start with Big Jessel.
Well, so my dad was a four-sport high school All-American out of
Mhm.
Virginia Beach area. Um, so he could have gone to any school in the country to play basketball or football. He chose to play basketball at University of Kentucky, and they were the best team in the country. Adolph Rupp was the coach. He went there and found that he was in the top probably 7 or 8 players. But after his second year, he got drafted to go in the military. So he served a couple of years over in Korea. He had met my mom, and they had me right afterwards. And so I did my thing with the Falcons and all that. But I've got 4 kids, and all 4 of my kids, 3 boys, and my youngest is a daughter, are all Division I athletes. Now, what's the correlation here, right? I mean, I've got athletic genes in my body, and I got athletic genes, and so my kids have taken the work ethic and the things they need to do to achieve and athletically. And then I have the two, my youngest two now are really, really doing well in terms of not only are they good and doing well, but they're leading, and they're leading by example. And, coming from it, Bobby, you and I both know you play and that's all cool. But when you can lead a group of people to do extraordinary things, that is the highlight. The Hall of Fame guys, most of them, you'll hear their background, and they made the people around them better, right? And I just like to think that my kids make the people around them better. So that's the Curry athletic tree, and we're blessed.
Well, that's awesome. I got a chance to see them grow up like they were my own kids, and man, there's nothing more satisfying than seeing my boys and my daughter. She's the only daughter I got, right, Gabby. See them to excel the way that they are. But
okay, Bobby, I got to tell a story. So
hold on, there's a prize. Hold on, there's a prize behind all this family now. There's a queen in the bunch. I'm not gonna leave her out.
I know,
because that's a special lady, and she's a lady that I love with all my heart. And we've traveled the last 20 years. You and I and your whole family travel all over the United States, putting on football camps. And she's a star of the Curry family.
I'm blessed to have her as my wife, and my partner, in all ways, and my confidant, and my counselor, whether I want it or not. But yeah, she's my counselor. So yeah, I'm the best man, most blessed man. But I got to tell you, I got to tell a story about my son David, who is playing at Georgia Tech. His championship year, he was playing for the state championship in the old dome, I think it was. Yeah, I think it was in the dome, like 2015. And I'm sitting there, and it's like third quarter, and all of a sudden I hear the joke behind me go, "Curry's going to take it all the way," and it was a punt. The other team was punting. "Curry's going to take it all the way." I said, "I know that voice." I turn around, and that's you, and you're saying David, who was returning punts from Houston, was going to take it in. The kid punted it. David caught it and took it in for a touchdown. So you've always been a great support.
The franchise.
Appreciate it.
He's the franchise. Well, look, buddy, real quick, we're running out of time, but real quick, let all the people know what you're doing today.
Okay, so Bobby and I have been involved with teaching kids, pre-high school kids, 7 to 13. We teach them football fundamentals, and we want to teach them about life. And the neat thing about Bobby was a good football player, but ladies and gentlemen, Bobby Butler is a better man, and a better husband, and a better father. And I say that with all sincerity. And the guys that we've been able to surround ourselves with, Bobby and ladies and gentlemen, are high character guys. And I'm so proud of how they're husbands and fathers, and they're family oriented. And then, golly, we have a platform where we go and we train these kids, and they're training these kids like their own kids. And boy, kids need somebody to look up to that is high character. And so we've been doing that the last 20 years. Right now, we're in pause mode because of the virus. And then I'm trying to do some things to maybe highlight and intensify my coaching. I love to coach kids. I love to coach people. So I'm going to do more individual small group training with kids, and I'm going to do some life coaching with people to help them grow and mature and be the best they can be.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. Hey, look, again, man, thank you for coming on the show. Hey, if you enjoyed the video today, like it, comment on it, share it with everybody you know. This is 100 Yards of Football, and I'm your man, Bobby Butler. Buddy, thank you again, man. God bless you, man. You and your family.
Love you, Bobby. Take care.
Thank you.